So Gary, welcome back. This is the third time. Of course, you've been on other shows and specials and Hall of Fame shows and so forth and so on. So, but it's always home, and it's always family. You know.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This feels like home.
Well, let's talk about This Land, the new album. You know, I mean, the stuff people are saying and writing, it's pretty amazing, and it's deserved.
Thanks.
Somebody wrote that it's sort of this record redefines who you are and what you're capable of being as an artist. I know you don't think that way, but when you went into the studio to make this record, what were you thinking?
I was thinking that I just got a phone call from my manager saying that it was about time that I got in the studio and made another album. So I was thinking, okay, there's that part. But as far as creative direction, it was just going with the flow. I started off making music on a little MPC and started incorporating guitars and sampling here and there. Just decided I was just gonna make a record that was everything, you know, not just playing guitar and you know, doing the guitar solo thing, but I just wanted to do all of it and not really filter myself, you know, which I'd probably done before and I said I wasn't gonna do, but I really didn't this time. I definitely put myself to the test on this one. Look, I just made 35. You know, I spent a lot of time uh, being shy and not really, you know, pushing it to the limit. Like I know I can, you know, I always kind of fall back. And, you know, not everybody gets an opportunity to have their microphone turned up the way that I have. So I might as well use it, you know, and have fun with it.
When was the first time you put that falsetto to the test?
First time I put the falsetto to the test was I came back home to Austin from doing a film called Honey Dripper, John Sayles, and they put some relaxer in my hair. And I had kind of the old school thing happen, and I was just listening to Sam Cooke and like Smokey Robinson, a bunch of groups like that. You know, going through a breakup, started singing the song "Please Come Home" in falsetto, playing a Strat. You know, kind of in a suit, kind of in character like that, and I just kind of went with it. And I put it up on MySpace, and Willie Pipkin, if you know him, a guitar player from Texas, he was like, that's it right there. So we just kind of stuck.
It must you know, be a bit of a strain on the voice after a while, night after night after night, or do you have any exercises that you go through to try to help?
The falsetto is definitely a strain night after night, but it's a lot easier on my voice than the lower kind of chest raspy stuff. So, but any kind of vocal treatment or anything, water, some tea, you know, I'm lying. It's whiskey, man. I'm lying. What made me pick up the SG? Funny that you ask, because we're all connected somehow. I was doing a session at the old studio with Foo Fighters.
Oh yeah.
They were doing their show Sonic Highway, and I decided I would show up with the Gibson ES-125, which is a hollow body guitar, which is stupid to bring to a Foo Fighters session if you know what you're getting yourself into. So they clowned me for it, asked me what I was doing. Who do you think you are? And Pat Smear had this SG, 61 reissue, pulled it out the case, said try this, played it. Apparently what I played they liked. I kept it on the record, and Pat Smear said, I think this guitar is yours. And so I fell in love with him. I never thought I would enjoy an SG or whatever. I thought it was just kind of like a, you know, typical rock and roll, you know, guitar, no big deal. But I fell in love with it, so much so that I got a few more now. Yeah, This Land Is Your Land. I was messing around with sampling records, and I came across Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, a version of that song, which is just the funkiest thing you'd ever heard, man. It's so good. And I just remember singing that song in school as a kid and holding hands and pledge allegiance to the flag. And, you know, as I got older, I realized that it didn't necessarily mean the same thing to everybody, you know. Didn't feel the same way singing it. And just growing up over the years, you know, dealing with stuff, feeling like being discriminated against, or, you know, having offensive things written on my fence and stuff done to me and people around me, you know. I remember seeing this story about, I don't want to get too depressing here, you know what I mean? I'm trying to keep everybody up, but this is just real. It was the story of James Byrd Jr. in Jasper, Texas, and I was scared to be black in Texas. It was scary, you know, to walk around the street. You didn't know what was going to happen. And just leading up to everything happening, police shootings, Colin Kaepernick kneeling, and people taking that for what it, you know, the wrong reason, and being offended, and just being in my neighborhood and having somebody question where I'm living, you know, it's just enough already, you know. My life is beautiful for the most part, and I got 2 young kids now, and I don't want to have to raise them up in a world where they have to question anything about it, you know. Just like, they should be able to walk around loud and proud, be accepted, be acknowledged for who they are, just like anybody else. You know, we should be able to work hard, get what we want, be able to provide for our families, and, you know, mind your own business, stay out of the way, you know what I mean? Unless you got something to offer, stay back. You know, it's easy to be nice, it feels like, and I just had enough, man. I had enough, and I got in the studio, and I popped off, and This Land came out, and I feel better. Terry, it's like, I'm an artist at the end of the day, and given an opportunity to kind of reflect the sign of a time, I feel like that's kind of what we're supposed to do. And like Little Richard said, you want it all or not. You know what I mean? You want that big toe to shoot up in your boot and make people feel something. And if I don't feel it myself and put my all into it, then how can I convince people and get myself up on stage every night if I don't believe it to believe it? So it's just time to take it there, you know? I learned how to be on the road by following Jimmy Vaughn. In my little Pearl Cadillac, we had to pack up all our gear. Me, James Bullard, played bass, Jay Moeller. We packed ourselves in there like sardines, and we drove to Phoenix. And my mom said to Jay and James to take care of him. She said, make me proud out there. And I didn't go to school. I didn't go to university. It was a problem, me trying to pursue music. You know, a lot of arguments back and forth. And I said, I got to make this happen. You know, and I went out there, and Jimmy Vaughn and Tilt the World Band, Corey Moore, Mark Perkins, Gilbert Garza, they taught me how to be out there on the road, you know. So I think I made her proud, hopefully.